We talked about doing this last week, but we pushed it to this week. I figured we'd give an update now on the writers' strike, the ongoing writers' strike, which is now in week 5. We're now in week 5 of this thing, and we're nowhere close to a resolution. We're nowhere close. And I feel like the reason that a lot of people aren't talking about it is that they're still far apart. They're still so far apart. There's been no sort of equitable middle ground here. But it is officially now the largest interruption to American television and film production since the COVID-19 pandemic. And it's the largest labor stoppage since the WGA strike in 2007, 2008. This is representing 11,500 writers as well. Strike began on May 2nd. Dom, you've had your finger on the pulse of this. I will admit, even more so than I have too. What have you been reading? What concerns you at least, or what sort of updates or context could you provide?
There's a lot of important things to cover, but the most important thing is the fact that Imagine Dragons, I believe, has been hired by the Pinkertons. I think they're Pinkertons. I think they're strike breakers because they showed up on that picket line a few weeks ago and it was an event. Things happen, and God bless those strikers who are on that line, enduring the harsh conditions of Imagine. What did they even play? Did they play Radioactive? That's all I care about.
They did acoustic versions of their songs, yeah.
As a pop radio DJ, I am very tired of Enemy. I am very tired of Enemy.
Imagine having a guitar on the front lines of one of the biggest labor strikes, most visible labor strikes. I'll get into that. But like, and you're not playing like union songs. You're not playing Solidarity Forever. You're not playing Which Side Are You On? You're playing your Imagine Dragons. Even if you're Imagine Dragons, you're still playing Imagine Dragons. Let's just get that out of the way there.
Imagine Dragons makes me miss Maroon 5. Continue. They really do. I was kind of a Maroon 5 apologist for like the first 3 or 4 years. I'm like, Makes Me Wonder is a damn bop, man. And even moves like Jagger's decent.
I can't believe I just heard. That's really good.
You can steal that one. Imagine Dragons makes me miss Maroon 5, and then in 10 years we'll have some other band that'll make me miss Imagine Dragons. Carry on.
I don't know how to follow that, man. I had a bit and you just made it a better bit. Okay. Really, Steve, you summed it up. We are in a deadlock, and the last writer strike lasted exactly 100 days. This writer strike may last for even longer, which is hard to believe, but and we'll see as the effects really start to pile on. But for the most part, it's looking pretty, I don't know, I want to say bad, but if you're a consumer of entertainment who wants nothing more than to, even though you should be concerned what's happening here, but if you're just wanting to have more entertainment brought to you, served onto you on a lovely platter, it's looking pretty bad for you, because they are very much still far apart, and both sides really want to see how this lays out. Joe, you actually provided was it Steve or Joe who provided the article? Yeah.
Oh, I did.
It's a good article because that we're not going to show it, but the video that NBC4 in Los Angeles puts out actually sums up a lot of the main issues here too. Sans AI, but honestly, that's his own thing. But yeah, we are at a stage here where it's just wait and see. What we are, it's a matter of when the whole game of striking is how long can you go before someone blinks. But all eyes are well lubricated for the moment here. What makes this one really particularly, though, important is because this is a very visible strike. Anything in entertainment is a very, very, very visible strike, because it's literally the things that we watch, the things we consume as a media. So even though a national train stoppage or a national truck stoppage may technically affect us much, much more in how we consume, say, food or other consumer items, when your 2.5 Men stops, I mean, technically that show's been over, but you know what I'm saying, right? When your Blue Bloods stops getting made and grandpa can't watch propaganda anymore, it's a big deal. So where both sides are at, it's hard exactly to say, because it's so much internal, brinksmanship. That's being a little unfair to WGA here. But I think what really is where the pulse of everything is, when the next escalation of everything comes in the last paragraph of this article. On June 7th, the AMPTP, that's the representing the studios, that's everything, Netflix, Paramount, everything, is scheduled to begin negotiations with the SAG-AFTRA Actors Union, which has already come out in strong support of the striking writers. Also, side note, they approved. A lot of people were freaking out because they thought they just straight up struck. No. They approved, SAG-AFTRA approved a strike, which means if this negotiation also fails between AMPTP and SAG-AFTRA, the negotiations which begin June 7th and goes on for quite some time, if that doesn't get resolved, SAG-AFTRA will officially be on strike. Does that make sense? So going on to the article here, the AMPTP began labor talks on May 10th with the Directors Guild of America. So we're in the middle of the directors in their negotiations, which is seeking to address many of the same issues involved in the WGA stalemate. The DGA's contract with the AMPTP expires June 30th. So you have a potential cascade domino effect of all these entertainment unions potentially all going on strike if AMPTP can't get their shit together and toss a coin to your writer. And already we're seeing, even though they're not officially on strike, we're already seeing IATSE and the Teamsters joining at least the picket lines, and in very much cases doing maybe not wildcat strikes, which is where you just lazily go into work, sit down and not do anything, even though you're not on strike, but you just don't do anything on your computer or on your conveyor belt or whatever. That's called a wildcat strike. Are we seeing, is that truly where we're at? Maybe not. It's hard to say. But there's a really good, I should have mentioned this earlier to you guys in prep, but there's a really good, I think, Atlantic article, no, Variety, either way, about one of the Teamsters bosses. It's a she, and she's like in her 40s, and it's like, yeah, we're going full freaking off here, and she's like swears all over the article because of course she's Teamsters, and she's from a family of Teamsters, and they are like they're like Jimmy Hoffa worshipers, which is problematic, but whatever. And where we're at right now here in week 5, in the midst of week 5, is that we are in the thick of it. This is the exciting part. This is like the opening weeks of World War I, where everyone's like, "Oh yeah, this is gonna be over by Christmas. This is gonna be fun, guys. We're gonna become." It's like the opening. It's the opening weeks.
2 weeks. 2 weeks.
Yeah. Well, honestly, 100%. It's kind of like my birthday, where everyone was like, "Oh, dude, this is awesome. You get to stay home for like the next 2 weeks for your birthday." Dom's like, "Yeah, that's totally what I'm looking forward to." Yeah, that's really kind of it. And where we see, and I'll stop there because I could really go on for another couple hours on this. You guys know that, but it really is a matter of who's gonna blink first. That's literally every strike in the history of labor.
Yeah.
And but we are far away from that. There's been some talk about all the studios, they've lost X billions of dollars. Hard to say exactly so far, because measuring loss in stocks, which is which is what people are getting the number from, I would not go with that number yet. I wouldn't throw that factoid around, because that's like conservatives when they say it's like, oh, Target lost X millions of dollars when we pushed over the rainbow stand at their one store, and then like stocks went down a couple million, which will bounce right back up the next day or whatever. It goes both ways, and it's hard to say. So if anything else, just don't believe the stock number there. But gentlemen, I guess I'll hand it off to you where you want to take it exactly. But 100 days, the last one, I don't know where how far this one's going to be, how much these debuffs are going to stack on top of each other, but we shall see. I'm
currently in a drought now. I'm really missing the NFL. I think we're now 15 Sundays away from the NFL season starting. And I know, Joe, you like football as well too. Over under 100 days. Does this strike go over or under?
I think it's going to go over.
I think it's going to go over too. I think this AI. I
Yeah.
think this AI thing is really going to be the hangnail of this whole strike, and it's not going to get resolved soon.
With how much it's even being brought up in mainstream news, not this strike. I mean, the strike is, but AI in general. I feel like it's such a complicated issue for any occupation that everybody's going to have to like really dissect it when it comes to their field and everything and what they want out of it. I also think if SAG and the Directors Guild also joins, it's just gonna make this even go on any longer because that's 3 other organizations to like talk with and everything. What was I gonna say? I can't wait to see Greta Gerwig and Christopher Nolan doing their interviews for Barbie and Oppenheimer from the picket line. That's gonna be cool to see.
Dude, what if Oppenheimer and Barbie are the last movies ever made? Just ever.
I don't know why.
I mean, we'll go out with a bang. Ba-doom.
That's what I'm saying. Okay.
I mean, it would be a hell of a finale. It'd be a hell of an encore. I'll say that much. I wouldn't have much of a purpose then after that.
Yeah,
but
I guess we end with that, and we're just like, that's it. No more movies. We're done.
Time to sleep.
Sorry.
Go on. And that's it.
Time to sleep. The end of Sleepless.
That would be a great title. Dude, it'll just be retro with Steve. It'll just be like, that's it, man. We're just reviewing everything that we haven't seen yet. We'll bitch about Max still to that very day, but like, anyways, I got nothing else to add. I mean, like, Dom, you're hitting everything that you can hit with no work being done within these last 4 weeks. It's scary to think that like, how much this is gonna cost, just the industry in general, and potentially that we could potentially see the writers lose, which is even a scarier thought.
No.
I don't know how it's going to play out because, nobody has really moved at all. And maybe with SAG and the Directors Guild, we'll see some movement there, hopefully. It's just shocking to see, like, these guys are basically the backbones of every franchise, of every late night television. And the fact that, like, this happened not, like, literally recently in 2007 through 2008, November 2007, I should say, till February 2008. And it's like, you wouldn't think this would happen, like, again after that strike. And they saw, like, how much it affected movies like Quantum of Solace, Revenge of the Fall, Transformers Revenge of the Fallen, and stuff like that in late night television. You think it wouldn't happen again so soon, especially after COVID. And yet here we are, and it's happening, and it's even in a worse state right now than it was in 2007, 2008. And who knows what the repercussions will be, whether they work things out or don't. It is just a scary thought. I know there's much more scarier things, man, out there in the world. But as this is a podcast where we talk about fucking next week we're going to talk about Spider-Man going to different dimensions and shit. All right, like, it's stuff we got to bring up because I love Phil Lord and Chris Miller.
Don't undersell it.
And I love Phil Lord and Chris Miller, and they're 2 of my favorite writers when it comes to like comedies in general. And just to see that, like, hey, people like them who want to be them, who could potentially be the next them, are just getting jagged. It isn't fair, and it isn't right.
Joe, we know, there's a war in Ukraine and everything, but like, you don't even need to undersell it.
No, you don't.
I said this before, and I stand by this. I'm not being hyperbolic. This is the front line of the fight against
AI.
The gross, not AI, whatever. Generically, I think it's a neutral thing, but the gross, greedy, negligent mishandling of AI by a powerful few against us regular Joes and Steves here. Like, it's the creative class, intelligentsia, just anyone who's worth giving into their souls into this thing we called humanity and society. This is a real existential. This is the Terminator. This is the Skynet of. Sorry, I don't.
It's a watershed.
You kind of know
moment.
what I'm saying, right?
No, I do.
It's a watershed moment. It's another thing too, because I can't think of anything, outside of COVID, that has impacted pretty much every industry. Like when it comes to this AI, inner working, how fast this thing has come on the scene.
Oh yeah.
And like how people are finding uses and already manipulative ways to use it. And there's not even like I think now the Atlantic just released within the last week an AI policy. The Ringer website released an AI policy, because you look at it and it's like, if I use AI to write a review, am I obligated to cite it like a book? Like like I would cite like a source, you know what I mean? Because it's technically not my work, really. That's what the creator in me looks at. Like like I'm like, is there like how is this entrenched with the plagiarism policy? A credit policy? There's so much unwritten regulation now that needs to be written, but like right now people are in the experimental stages of it, and you're already seeing like the negative that's coming from it. I think there's a good that can come from it. I certainly do, but it's terrifying for somebody like me who makes a living being creative and has a creative job too.
That's
could be fucking replaced by AI.
That's like 70% of like my friends are all creatives, and they're all looking at this terrified.
Everybody who went to North Central's fucking scared, man. Like,
liberal arts.
Everybody who went, 75% of North Central graduates right now, the ones who didn't study a science field, are like really nervous.
If you never went to that science center just to hang out, you're basically shivering right now.
You should have taken a class in the damn thing.
All the exercise science majors, who's laughing now? Who's laughing now?
I went for radio meetings in the science center.
Oh my god! Yeah, there you go. But it's hella scary, and it's been said, to, I guess, play a devil's advocate, but it's been said that creativity is the art of hiding your sources. The meaning of that quote being, we all get it from somewhere. There's no true original thought or true. We all build, from centuries of human societal contributions to the world, but so we still had to think about it, right? We still had to do that, but now we're automating it, right?
Yeah,
we had to use our own words. Remember that in school?
We had to use our own. Hey, that really is the crux of it. That is 1000% the crux of it. Yeah, you're right. It was a hated phrase, but here we are. It's all coming back to us.
For all you math majors who didn't like pay attention during the English classes, it was use your words, in your own words was the English major equivalent of show your work.
Oh my god. Yes.
Can I just say too, I mean, with the whole AI thing as well, I watched movies like, because Don brought up Skynet, I watched movies like The Terminator and, fucking iRobot. I was like, oh man, science fiction's so cool. This would never happen. Now I'm living in a potential state where it's like, I might get something similar to it, and that's kind of fucking scary.
Oh my god.